Okay.
So it pays to do your homework.
To do your homework, it does.
Right here is an English memorial jewelry collection. This jewelry collection includes a range of items such as rings and brooches that date back to the 17th and 18th centuries. These pieces were made in England for wealthy families as part of their mourning customs.
A suitable amount of gold mourning jewelry would be made and distributed to the family members.
The rings often feature intricate designs, including coffins, skulls, and symbolic motifs like skeletons and grave-digging tools, all made from materials like gold, silver, enamel, and gemstones.
The enameling depicts the entire skeleton, starting with his head and going down his shoulders and his rib cage.
The collection also includes pieces with hair under glass, a common practice for memorials. However, the rarity and desirability of the collection make them highly sought after by collectors with a price tag of
$40,000.
Okay.
So it pays to do your homework.
To do your homework, it does. Seriously?
Yes, they're highly collectible.
Thank you so very much.
This ornate object was displayed on the show. It was acquired by this guest from one of her relatives. Encased in a box is a delicate perfume flask, and the flask is in the shape of a stylized guard. Upon closer inspection of the item, we can see it is set with emeralds and sapphires adorning its sides. There's also a diamond inlaid into a star shape, and on its headdress are more diamonds. Fascinatingly, the head of this piece unscrews, opening up to reveal the perfume content. Furthermore, this item was made circa 1960s. On the box, there is an inscription of the maker's name, Tiffany & Company. And it was designed by Jean Schlumberger. Jean Schlumberger was a French jewelry designer, especially well known for his work at Tiffany & Company.
Still doing designs from his design book, so Schlumberger is a very important name to the Tiffany brand.
At the bottom of the item, the designer's name is visible. This item is in great shape and highly sought after due to its origin. At auction, the value of this item is estimated to be
$8,000 and $10,000.
Seriously?
Yes, they're highly collectible.
Thank you so very much. Oh, my stars. Well, that was a good find.
a great find. This painting was found in the attic of a house the guest's parents wanted to buy. They offered to buy the painting along with the house, and a price of $2 was agreed upon for the painting. It has been hanging on their wall for over 40 years. This is a lovely Minnesota folk art painting. The original fire gilt on the frame is still present. The image portrays local scenery with beautiful colors and landscape designs. It has a nice feel to it, giving a very naive interpretation.
The houses look a little bit out of kilter as far as perspective.
There's a lot of dirt on this painting. This doesn't need to be relined or have major restoration done on it. This painting dates to the 1900s. It is valued at about
$4,000 to $6,000.
Oh, my stars. Well, that was a good find.
The Germans are known for a lot of things, and art doesn't prominently seem to be one of them. But this porcelain urn by Carl Thiem tells a completely different story. As said earlier, it is made from fine porcelain, which enhances its shine. We also have featured here a painting that resembles an angel. All of these features combined add to its valuation, and that's why it auctions at the price of
$7,000 and $10,000.
Sounds good to me.
It's not often we encounter such an interesting collection showcased on the show by this guest, a collection of items. This is an archive of the famous Jackie Robinson, a professional American baseball player who became the first African-American to play in Major League Baseball in the modern era.
I think it's a snapshot of when he was young, like Jasmani said.
The archive was received by the guest from his father, who was a friend of Robinson. Included in this archive is a photograph of Robinson and a couple of letters, both visible. These items were very personal to Robinson and are an important part of American baseball history. Therefore, at auction, their value is estimated to be around
$15,000 to $20,000.
Whoa.
Kidding.
No.
Okay, that's much more valuable than I would have thought.
This woman shared a fascinating story behind this treasured family heirloom, a beautifully crafted snake jug.
All I know is that it was used, I believe, for alcohol, and that the $500 referenced some obtaining of a liquor license at the time.
Made by the Anna Pottery Company in 1884. Anna Pottery Company was known for their expertise in stoneware pottery.
Pottery to express their political beliefs.
The company produced pieces highly sought after by collectors for their versatility. This jug features inscriptions related to temperance and political corruption, adding to its historical significance. This piece is especially unique due to its size and unusual form.
Because of the pinched form, when it was made round, and then they pinched it in to make it more of an oval shape.
Made with great thoughtfulness and still in perfect condition, this jug would conservatively sell for
$12,000 on it.
Okay, you're kidding.
No.
Okay, that's much more valuable than I would have thought.
This is a painting of the residence of a renowned painter from the 19th century, Joseph Mallard William Turner. Turner was an English painter, printmaker, and watercolorist known for his expressive coloring, imaginative landscapes, and marine paintings.
So soon after he had died. Turner is the most important artist to me of the 19th century.
This work of art was created by Alexander McInnes shortly after Turner's death and was exhibited in the Royal Academy in 1852. Our guest on the show had acquired this painting through her family. They are the direct descendants of Turner's uncle. This special piece, which holds great significance to a celebrated artist of the 1800s, would be worth at least
£4,000 to £6,000 because of the history and because of the labels on the back.
An unwanted treasure. This artwork was almost discarded by the guest family some time ago. It belonged to her grandfather. When he passed, her grandmother didn't like it and wanted to throw it away. However, her mother stepped in and took it. The painting was made by the artist Ernst Spybuck. Spybuck was a Native American artist from the Potawatomi tribe. He was known for his traditional and contemporary artwork, including paintings, sculptures, and beadwork.
I love Ernest Spybuck. He wasn't a trained artist, but he had a way of capturing life around him.
This piece is titled Wild Ride, Green Corn Dance, Kickapoo Indians, and Shawnee.
They would gather to celebrate that the corn was green. It was edible for them. So it was a gathering of celebration.
It is a mixed media painting consisting of pencil, watercolor, and ink. This painting dates to around the 1920s.
There's a fair amount of his works around, but you rarely see him coming to market.
It's truly a remarkable work of art. At auction, it is valued at about...
If you were to offer this piece at auction today, it would sell for about $35,000.
Oh my, that's much more than what I expected to hear.
The guest shared a story about acquiring posters at junior college from a girl who distributed them. The guest attended most of the concerts represented by the posters. The appraiser examined the posters, likely from the 1966 to 1968 era, and highlighted the various acts featured in the collection. Some important acts included Big Brother and the Holding Company and the Grateful Dead. There was also a poster of the Charlatans, a pioneering band in San Francisco. Notably, the collection included handbills, adding depth and variety. With nearly 40 posters in total, each one offered a glimpse into the vibrant music culture of the era. At auction, this comprehensive collection was estimated to be valued between
$5,000 to $8,000 at auction.
I feel like crying. I wish I took better care of them. Wow.
On the show today, we're presented with a model ship. It is a very rare artifact that was made by French prisoners of war, captured and taken to United Kingdom during the late 18th century. These prisoners were actually ivory carvers, and they created this ship model using bones from their food and some hair.
Make another one of these. And they're made all from bone. And rigging, they didn't have any string, they used human hair.
Another feature which makes this model so unique is the exceptional detail. The accuracy in the features of the ship, both above and below, is fascinating. A rare and detailed model ship crafted using bones and human hair dating back to the late 1700s would attract a value of
between £20,000 and £25,000.
Wow. For your $20?
Yeah, for your $20 investment.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
This is a sketch from one of the most popular comic artists of the 20th century, William Marshall Rogers III. Rogers was an American comics artist best known for his work at Marvel and DC Comics in the 1970s. He was one of the creators of many iconic characters of the franchise, including the renowned Batman in Detective Comics of the Bronze Age of comic books. Our guest on the show acquired this piece at an estate sale. This sketch was created using pencil, ink, and marker, and judging from the aesthetics, likely dates back to the late 1980s, early 1990s. Original piece of artwork sketched and signed by a penciler of the Bronze Age of comic creation would be valued at
$800 to $1,200.
Wow. For your $20?
Yeah, for your $20 investment.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
This Chinese porcelain vase, a gesture of gratitude from oppressed Chinese Christians during the Boxer Rebellion, was gifted to the guest's great-grandfather.
And they actually took several in and protected them. So as a gesture of their gratitude, they presented them with this gift of a vase.
Originating from the late 19th century, its shape references a 2nd century form known as hue. The vase features a beautiful design, with the front depicting clouds rising and a carp emerging from the waves, a symbol of good luck. The back showcases 2 dragons and a flaming pearl. Inscriptions on the bottom translate to the period the vase was made.
The mark says, Da Ming Wan Li Nin Zhi, which means this was made in the Wan Li period, which is 1572 to 1620.
As a token of deep appreciation, this vase is priceless. But if we must assign a value, it is estimated to be worth about
The $10,000 to $20,000 range.
Oh dear.
This is an original manuscript written by Robert Burns. Burns was a well-renowned and celebrated Scottish poet and lyricist who is widely regarded as the national poet of Scotland. Our guest inherited this piece from his father. This manuscript is a 2-verse poem.
Don't sound as good for me. Oh, Betty will break my bread, and Betty will brew my ale, and Betty will be my love when I come over the dale.
Thank you very much.
Dating back to the late 18th century, written and signed by the famous poet. An original handwritten manuscript of a poem by a Scottish national treasure at an auction would be worth at least
between £8,000 and £10,000.
Oh dear.
We have been presented with a rare item today. Our guest on the show discovered it in her garden.
I've brought along a mammoth's tooth that my father dug up in the garden.
This is a fossilized mammoth's tooth. Mammoths are a species of elephants that went extinct about 4,000 years ago. Unlike the elephants that exist now, mammoths were distinguished by their large and spirally twisted tusks. This particularly rare item from an extinct species of a truly marvelous animal at an auction would command a value of
at about £1,000.
That is actually, wow.
Some distinct tea and coffee pots are presented to the show.
It was heavily taxed, especially in the colonies, and the colonies felt they were being unfairly taxed.
One crafted by the American silversmith Meyer Myers, and the other by the renowned English silversmith Paul de Lamery.
Teapot on matching stand, circa 1790. This is a classical design with tassels and swags engraved on it.
A key difference between American and English coffee pots is their markings. American pieces are typically marked with the maker's initials on the bottom, while English ones can have markings on the side, bottom, or even within the design itself. The true value lies not just in these objects' beauty, but in their historical significance. A staggering valuations of these American coffee pots exceeding
fewer than 15 known examples today, and an example by Paul Revere sold for $700,000.
A lamp stamped Pearpoint, originating from New Bedford, Massachusetts, dates back to the late 19th century. It was made by the Pearpoint Company, featuring a beautifully painted landscape shade and a sturdy urn form base. It showcases neoclassical design. A small chip on the lamp has an impact on its value. The lamp holds significant worth because of the shade's craftsmanship.
Didn't have that chip, a good auction estimate would be $6,000 to $8,000. Wow. But with the chip, I'd say $5,000 to $7,000.
Wow, okay.
This teapot has witnessed a captivating family tale, traveling from the owner's grandmother to her mother and finally into her own hands.
I love the workmanship in it. I have worked in clay because I'm an art teacher, and it's just so beautifully constructed. I love it.
Teapot features a fish-form spout, knob, and intricate fish designs amidst waves and clouds. Interestingly, the teapot's form originated in Asia, not in the West. Dark blue and pale pink colors were painted onto the unfired clay surface before glazing, a technique uncommon in Chinese pottery. Turning it over reveals a mark by Makuzu Kozan, a renowned Japanese potter. Kozan served as the potter to the imperial Meiji court, celebrated for flawless execution and exquisite designs. It likely dates back to around 1890, epitomizing timeless beauty and functionality. Its intricate pierced gallery prevents the top from slipping, enhancing both its aesthetic and practical value. Insurance value is estimated at
about $14,000.
Wow. So a little bit more than the $100 that your
grandmother would be so happy.
We have an oil painting on our canvas today. Our guest inherited this painting from her grandmother, who bought it from a print shop in San Antonio in 1935. The painting was created by the celebrated artist Porfirio Salinas. Salinas was a Texas landscape painter recognized for his depiction of the Texas Hill Country. His work was widely recognized even by then United States President Lyndon Johnson.
61, when Lyndon Johnson became vice president and subsequently president, his profile really was raised. Obviously, they hung his pictures in the White House.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
In an interview with the New York Times, Lyndon Johnson said that Salinas was his favorite artist.
The brilliance and style of Salinas is showcased in this original painting, and his ingenious use of color clearly depicts the changing seasons in this Texas landscape. A wonderful work of art created by an artist whose paintings have been hung in the White House and in several other institutions would have a value at least
Just $45,000. Oh
my goodness.
So a little bit more than the $100 that your
grandmother would be so happy.
Today's piece is what we call a visual artwork, a painting. This painting was given to our guest from his father. It's a painting by an artist named Arthur Kern from New Orleans. Kern worked as a flooring designer. Being a floor designer influenced his art, which is evident in this painting with the incorporation of epoxy and polyester resin. The incorporation of epoxy or polyester resin was done to give his art some sort of dimension.
And so we see here in this painting, which is entitled Torso, that he's really building up the impasto into a thick manner, probably utilizing one of those mediums.
Kern would later end up burning his paintings, with this piece remaining as one of the few left. A painting so rare and serving as a foundation of development from an individual who would later become famous after transitioning to sculpting, would auction at
$8,000 to $12,000.
Oh, wow. That's exciting.
Presented on the show today is a very rare artifact. This is a manuscript written and signed by Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln was a Republican who served as the 16th President of the United States and is widely known for several honorable acts of service, including the abolition of slavery through the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution, and leading the United States through the American Civil War. This manuscript dates back to 1864 during the American Civil War. It was a military pass signed during the meeting of Lincoln and General Grant in Virginia.
From records, we know that Lincoln met with General Grant in D.C. on the 20th to discuss strategy, and apparently also tended to this request on behalf of Miss Sharp. He must have been compelled to give her a pass written in his own hand to allow her to pass through Union lines to get to her family.
Our guest acquired this piece from her uncle, a manuscript written, signed, and dated by Abraham Lincoln, which, testament to the kindness of the national hero, at an auction would be valued at least
$20,000 to $30,000.
A lot more than I thought. But I'm thrilled to find out he wrote the whole thing. That's wonderful.
It's amazing what quality medical service can earn in barter. Our guest's grandfather, a doctor, received this painting as payment for his services.
This was my grandfather's. He was a doctor. The story goes that it was payment for medical services.
It's extraordinary how many doctors seem to have good art collections.
Painted by the renowned landscape artist Zoltán Szepesi, the oil painting depicts Lake Michigan. A high-born Hungarian, Zoltán emigrated to the United States in 1921 and became well-known in Detroit for his landscape paintings. This piece bears his signature and dates to around the mid-1930s. Showcasing his artistic brilliance, the uniqueness of this seascape puts the value of this piece at
$3,000 to $5,000.
Very nice, yeah.
The guest clutched a seemingly ordinary piece of pottery, a gift which was passed down through the generations in her family. It is something far more extraordinary, a rare creation by Adelaide Robineau, a pioneering potter revered for her meticulous craftsmanship in the early 20th century. Unlike other artists who might have kept even pieces with minor flaws, Robineau was notorious for destroying anything that didn't meet her exacting standards. This particular piece, while not flawless, possessed unique characteristics that hinted at Robineau possibly experimenting with glazes. You can notice the hand tooling, the 3 or 4 glaze flambé, and the tiny check marks that Robineau might have used as personal notes on the piece. These details suggested a work in progress, a testament to Robineau's relentless pursuit of perfection and her willingness to explore new artistic territories. Robineau was known for dating her works, and its lack suggested it could be an earlier example, possibly dating back to 1905 or 1906. The unevenness and its imperfections, often seen as undesirable, became intriguing markers of an earlier stage in Robineau's artistic journey. Crafted from porcelain, hand-thrown and hand-carved, it might not be a quintessential Robineau masterpiece, but it is uniquely beautiful. Despite its imperfections, the piece remained valuable with an estimated value of
between $10,000 and $15,000 only, which gives you an idea of how expensive Robineau could be because
a black and white gelatin silver photograph of a clown was brought by the guest. It was from the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Circus, given to the guest's grandmother who was in the circus. The photograph serves as a poignant reminder of this adventurous chapter in her life. The photograph, dated 1921, features the chief clown, John F. Slater. It would have been a souvenir at the time, akin to a celebrity headshot today. It holds significance as a piece of memorabilia from the circus's heyday, since the circus closed in 2017. For the auction, the estimated value of the print was
at $100 to $200. Oh, wow. Okay, well.
The guest brought a cat gumball lottery machine called Lucat. This item was produced in the mid-1940s in San Francisco. It initially belonged to the guest's father and was subsequently inherited by the guest from her mother. Commercially, this piece was unsuccessful, and its mechanism was known to be overly complex.
Oftentimes, it would break, jam up, and rather than be burdened with taking it completely apart to fix it.
Despite this, it's an attractive piece.
By the time the book came out, there was believed to only be one nickel machine in existence. So, presumably, you may only have the second.
Featuring a trade simulator, a gumball dispenser, and a lottery machine. This rare item, known for its fascinating features, would command a significant value at auction.
$10,000 to $15,000, and it could bring more.
Well, I'm glad I didn't take his offer then.
I think so.
We have an exceptional item based on Pearly Kings and Queens, a unique piece originally belonging to the guest's grandmother. She meticulously sewed every single button onto this fabric.
I don't know how long she spent, but it seemed like it'd take billions of years.
Creating an artistic masterpiece that weighs about 50 pounds. The piece includes a jacket and a skirt suit made from a basic black suit, which dates back to the 1970s. On the back of the fabric, there is an inscription indicating the reason the guest's grandmother crafted this piece.
It's a real showstopper. As you said, generally worn by the Pearly Kings and the Pearly Queens, who were predominantly known throughout England.
This beautifully designed piece, adorned with over 1,000 buttons, would have a value of
$2,000.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. That's much more than we expected.
This guest brings a vintage violin for appraisal. The violin belonged to her husband's grandfather, who was a musician back in his day. This violin model was made by Ernst Heinrich Roth Marknekerken in 1927. It is a copy of the 1718 Antonio Stradivarius violin. The Ernst Heinrich Roth family were great pioneers.
They realized that as the market was dwindling in the 1920s, as you head towards the Great Depression, that there wouldn't be many buyers for student-level instruments. So they decided to make violins for rich people, and they called them artist violins.
The best material and craftsmen were used to make these pieces. The instruments this family made between 1920 and 1930 are highly sought after because they have a great sound. The quality of the Roth family instruments, however, dwindled over the years. This makes this instrument period very desirable. A little bit of work needs to be done to restore it to pristine condition. In this state, it is valued at about
$7,500.
Oh, wow. That's much more than we expected.
If you got it fixed up, which would only cost about $1,000, it might be worth as much as $9,500.
Oh, wow. That's amazing.
A vintage Kamaka ukulele in a pineapple shape with a Sherlock finish adorned with sparkling foil stickers of pineapples on the headstock and face. It was crafted between 1928 and 1934. It bears a patent label by Kamaka. The guest inherited it in 1984 from her grandmother, who learned to play the ukulele and hula during her 18-month stay in Hawaii from 1933 to 1934. The instrument is well preserved due to low humidity compared to that of Hawaii. It retains its original tuners and only needs a new set of strings. Reflecting its exceptional condition and historical significance, the estimated value is
around $1,200.
Oh, really? I'm so surprised.
Today's show features oil paintings, which are family heirlooms passed down to our guest. They originally belonged to the guest's grandmother and were painted in the 1920s by her fiancé, Thomas Berger Johnson, an artist known for his modernist landscape paintings. These items include a snow scene painting and a landscape painting of a plain area which evoke a sense of closeness. These beautiful paintings would command significant value at auction, with their estimated worth being
$6,000 to $8,000 each.
Whoa.
So
He's not prepared for that.
12 to 16,000 together.
Wow, better take care of it.
We are presented with a family heirloom passed down through generations of women in the guest's family. This is a bracket clock made by Thomas Wagstaff, a Quaker and an exceptional English clockmaker. What's special about this piece is that it's musical, not just an ordinary bracket clock, and was made circa 1770. It features a dial for shutting off the strike, a tune selection section, and retains its original cowtail pendulum, with foliate engraving on the back.
Plays on a nest of bells. Everything about it's original. The condition is fantastic.
Musical clocks like this are fairly rare and highly sought after. The retail value for this,
$20,000 to $25,000.
Now I'm going to be brave enough to actually wind it and get to listen to it again.
The man presents a breathtaking work of needlework. He inherited this from his great-aunt, Elizabeth. It is a rare and exquisite example of Philadelphia schoolgirl needlework.
And it makes use of the most extravagant and beautiful fabric and metal thread.
Philadelphia's affluent young women's schools were popular at that time. These institutions instilled not only academic knowledge, but also the art of needlework. The opulent throne of King Solomon is meticulously rendered with silver and gilt threads, adorned with sequins and glass jewels. Its background of silk chenille contrasts with the sky and the characters' faces.
Were they using little tiny needles?
Little tiny needles, little tiny silk threads, infinitesimal stitches.
The original frame was removed, causing a wider structure that had deteriorated over time. He estimates a staggering auction price between
$60,000 to $80,000.
Oh my! That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
This is a lithograph created in the mid-20th century. Our guest on the show inherited the piece from his grandparents. This work of art was created by one of America's great painters, Grant DeVolson Wood. Wood was an American artist well known for his paintings depicting rural American Midwest, particularly the iconic American Gothic, painted in 1930. This piece is a lithograph made and signed by the artist. Made with soft crayon, this is a great example of Wood's work showcasing his skilled hand and fine drawing. The lithograph was printed in 1939 and published by the Associated American Artists in 1941. A uniquely detailed lithograph painted and signed by a renowned artist dating back to the mid-20th century would be valued at about
$8,000. Okay.
Our guest's great-grandmother acquired this bracelet in the early 1900s. It is believed to be Italian in origin. The appraiser describes this as one of the best charm bracelets he's ever encountered, noting the exceptional craftsmanship of the charms. 2 charms are highlighted, both signed G. Nardi, indicating they were made by the Nardi family.
This particular charm of this statue, this is actually from Lisbon, and once again, an extraordinary example of a jeweler's craftsmanship.
One charm features a diorama of the Grand Canal in Venice, while another depicts the central doorway of St. Mark's set with sapphires and featuring the Lion of St. Mark. Another charm portrays a statue from Lisbon, and the last one is from Spain, both showcasing intricate detail and craftsmanship. The bracelet is made of 18-karat gold and is believed to be from the 1950s. While the bracelet isn't signed, it's likely also made by Nardi. Each Nardi charm could be valued between $2,000 and $3,000, with the other charms ranging from $1,500 to $2,000. The entire bracelet is valued between
$8,000 to $10,000.
Holy moly, wow.
There aren't that many charms that I go crazy for and that I get excited for, but these 2 especially, the Nardi charms, they're really the finest charms I've ever seen.
Fantastic.
The guest eagerly presented a chair from his collection. Its clean lines and high back instantly recognizable as a Charles Rennie Mackintosh design. It is a 1970s reproduction by Cassina, an Italian furniture company renowned for its meticulous recreations of iconic furniture pieces. This particular Mackintosh design, though originating in 1904, possesses a timeless quality that transcended eras. It added a touch of whimsy and visual intrigue to the guest's home, a quality particularly fitting for the overall style of the space. The chair, a reinterpretation of a century-old design, resonated with the guest's desire for a lighter, brighter way of living. Recognizing its enduring popularity, similar Cassina reproductions typically fetch between
for $1,000 to $1,500 a piece, and they'd probably bring that or a little bit more in today's market.
This guest brings these lovely oil illustrations to the show.
And they belong to the Historical Society.
These paintings are a part of a collection owned by a local historical society, of which the guest is the president. These images were originally displayed in a country schoolhouse, then a courtroom, before making their way to the society in the mid-80s. These paintings were made by the artist Joseph Francis Kernan. Kernan was an American illustrator who specialized in depicting middle-class life on magazine covers and pages from the 1910s to the 1940s. His often humorous illustrations celebrate the simple comforts of home, family, and outdoor recreation. These images were used as the cover art of Country Gentleman magazine in 1924. They were, however, painted in 1923.
The artist is interesting in that he paid for his way through art school in Boston by being a professional baseball player, and he was always a sportsman.
This love for sports was evident in many of the paintings he made. This piece on the right side is titled RFD Delivery, while the other is titled Rabbits.
They're in very good condition. They're oil on canvas, and they're both signed lower right. They're wonderful examples of his work.
They are valued at about...
But in this market, I would insure them individually at $20,000.
Oh.
Yes.
That's more than we thought.
Good.
Wow. Yeah. And if she had the original clothes, you could add another 20% to that.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow.
Dolls, as they say, are the friends that never let you down. This guest brings her childhood companion to the show. This doll belonged to her great-great-grandmother, who brought it over from France in the late 1800s. It eventually moved down 4 generations till it got to her. It originally came with pantaloons and a slip. It is an Émile Jumeau doll. These dolls were made in Paris and were made from 1842 up until about 1898. They were the best quality French dolls at the time.
French dolls, it has a human hair wig and also the coloring of the bisque, the contrast between the paleness and the rosiness in the cheeks.
It is a very early model having a papier-mâché body and 8 ball joints. The blue paperweight eyes make it more desirable.
Any doll collector would love this. If you compare dolls to jewelry, you would think that this would be like a piece of Tiffany to a doll collector because it's really a great example.
At the back of the head is the size number 11. This denotes that it's a 24-inch size doll. The ears on the bisque head have been pierced. Also, the ears were applied after the doll had been molded. There is some damage around the body. This does not significantly affect the value, as it's a result of typical wear and tear. At auction, the appraiser values it at about
$16,000 and $18,000.
Wow.
Yeah. And if she had the original clothes, you could add another 20% to that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Right here, we have an American arts and crafts chandelier. This piece was part of the guest's father-in-law's house from 1935. However, there is a bit of doubt about the actual maker of this piece.
Talked to a couple of my fellow appraisers. Some thought maybe it could be Bigelow Kennard. Others said, no, I don't think it is, based on the color of the glass and possibly the shape. So what we're going to have to do is more research.
The lighting fixtures suggest it's from the New England arts and crafts movement, while the rabbit motifs points to it as a piece made by Massachusetts Pottery Company.
And this is a motif that actually was used on one of the prominent New England pottery companies on some of their pieces. This was a motif that they used.
It features a beautiful granite-like glass with a little pebbly surface, and it's unusual to see this level of plating, indicating high quality. Regardless of its maker, this well-plated piece is estimated to be worth...
Could sell for $10,000.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Oh my goodness. I just can't imagine that.
She got it from his grandmother, who got it from a moving and storage company in St. Louis. She bought it for $25. The 1916 Roseville Persian umbrella stand showcases Persian-influenced early 20th century American art pottery. It is also referred to as a creamware line due to its whitish background. Produced by the Roseville Pottery Company of Roseville, Ohio, this piece showcases intricate floral and geometric patterns. These patterns are often raised or embossed, creating a textured and detailed appearance. The rich color palette includes deep purple, greens, and beautiful flowers that complement the intricate designs. Made from high-quality ceramic, these stands are known for their durability and fine finish. In awe of its historical significance and craftsmanship, the appraiser valued the item
$1,700 and $2,300.
Oh my goodness. I just can't imagine that.
This porcelain piece belonged to their mother, an older item in their possession. There is this scene that you can depict amid cheers and cannon fire. Lafayette arrives on the Cadmus, greeted by Fulton and Livingston. Clews pottery, from James and Ralph Clews, was a hallmark of early 19th century Staffordshire, England. Clews' fruit bowls and stands balance function and beauty with elaborate motifs and vibrant colors. Some of Clews' pottery featured American scenes. Earthenware, known for its porous nature, was the primary material used, ideal for decorative glazes. The holes in this fruit stand are purely for decorative purposes. These pieces serve both functionally and decoratively, embodying Regency and early Victorian style. With its intricate motifs and vibrant colors, the appraiser valued the item
$3,000 and maybe as much as $5,000.
So I did well at the yard sale.
French things are often associated with class, and the same can be said of the vases presented today, given to our guest by his mother. The vases were made with ceramic and porcelain. The porcelain process and the design are Japanese-inspired, along with the cloisonné technique used in crafting the vase. On the underside of the vase are underglazed marks made using chopsticks. Made during the French Exposition, the vase's period of craftsmanship can be ascertained.
A particular period of time that these would have been produced would have been in the 1870s or 1880s.
These vases, as a pair, heavily influenced by Japanese style with a level of craftsmanship and their allure, would go for
$5,000 to $7,000.
A piece?
As a pair.
As a pair. Very nice.
For your clock.
No, really.
All right.
Yes.
Today's piece is a French classic, a chariot clock. Our guest acquired it at an estate sale. The clock is made with French quality casting. On the clock, there's applied work done on the horse's head and the Roman figure.
These medallions around here are applied on as well.
Okay.
And they're all very good castings.
Fire gilding was used to do the coloring of the clock. This clock is Parisian, made between 1795 and early 1800s, and has a skeletonized dial gear. A Parisian piece of this quality, made in the 18th or 19th century, with topmost craftsmanship, would be auctioned at
$8,500 to $8,500 to $9,500 for your clock.
No, really.
All right.
Yes.
My children will be very interested too, because as you know, eventually it'll be theirs.
Beyond its beauty, these white jade carvings are steeped in symbolism. This collection was acquired by the guest's husband while in Korea after the Second World War.
And he offered to trade my husband whatever he gave him American for this jade collection.
Originating from China, the jades date back to the 18th century. The white jade from which these items were crafted was predominantly mined in China. Included in the collection are a buy disc, a censer, a brush washer, and an incense vase. At auction, these historically significant Chinese carvings would each be valued at
between $10,000 to $15,000 at auction.
Interestingly, all of these jades were made for the Chinese imperial court at the time.
Taste. Other wealthy merchants decided that they wanted to collect the things that the emperor collected.
The demand for a collection like this is very high in the market. Altogether, these items in such good condition would fetch an overall auction value of
$40,000 to $60,000 easily at auction.
My children will be very interested too, because as you know, eventually it'll be theirs.
Today on the show, a stoneware is presented by this guest. This piece is a salt-glazed stoneware, particularly resembling a King Charles Spaniel. However, this piece was made in America.
We think of Staffordshire in England, but a lot of them were made in America too.
Interestingly, the process of salt glazing has been practiced as far back as the 13th century. Due to the passage of time, this stoneware shows some visible signs of wear. Despite minor damage, this relic serves as a testament to the craftsmanship of a bygone era, and it is estimated to be auctioned at around
$3,000 or even $4,000.
Really?
Yeah, it's a great piece of American stoneware.
That is great.
It might interest you to know that these are actually all people, soldiers precisely. This piece is a photograph taken by Mole and Thomas, who are Chicago-based photographers. They began creating these performance pieces to represent the best of American patriotism. In its present condition, this photograph with great historical significance would fetch $900 to $1,200 at auction.
This bat is a trophy from over a century ago. The guest's great-great-grandfather was the pitcher for the team that won the baseball championship in 1866.
This bat is my great-great-grandfather's. He played on a team in New London called the Pequods.
The trophy baseball bat bears the name of all the players on the team. The trophy was presented to the baseball champions of New London, Connecticut by the Young Men's Association of Norwich. The bat is made of rosewood, a very rare and expensive material. Additionally, we have a team photograph showing the guest's great-great-grandfather holding the trophy bat. The inscription on the back of the photograph adds to its sentimental value.
So, in other words, your great-great-grandfather gave this bat, probably his most cherished possession, to your great-great-grandmother while he was courting her.
Awarded to the Pequods, this bat holds great significance to the history of the development of baseball and is estimated to be worth
$5,000 to $6,000. Whoa! As a family heirloom, absolutely priceless.
A cast of iconic faces from the golden age of television all brought to life by the talented hands of the guest. The guest's journey with puppets began in childhood, fueled by a fascination with the classic Punch and Judy show.
I was so fascinated with Punch and Judy, I wanted to go every time.
Vienna, a whirlwind of culture, became the stage where this love affair bloomed. The puppets themselves are a time capsule, handcrafted in the early 1950s. Each one, meticulously sculpted from plastic wood, immortally captures the essence of a legendary entertainer. Jackie Gleason, Ed Sullivan, Liberace with his signature candelabra, Jack Parr, Jerry Lewis, and Jimmy Durante with his unmistakable schnozola, all brought to life with a touch of humor and a keen eye for detail. On the entire collection, the appraiser places a conservative estimate of
conservatively $10,000 to $15,000.
All of them.
All of them.
It was a pleasure being with you.
Thank you.
The guest received this caviar dish as a birthday gift from a family friend who had inherited it from her grandparents. Intrigued by its history, the guest sought more information about the caviar dish from the appraiser. The appraiser identified the caviar dish as Russian, specifically from Moscow, and dated it to 1884, which surprised the guest. Notably, each of the 12 accompanying spoons bore the clear marking 1884. The appraiser speculated that the dish was likely made for the Russian market, although it could have been intended for export as well, given its remarkable condition and lack of export or retail marks. The caviar dish and spoons were made of sterling silver with a gold sheen inside the cup to prevent tarnishing from the saltiness of the caviar. The most fascinating aspect of the piece was the niello technique used to create intricate vignettes of St. Basil's Cathedral and the Kremlin. The appraiser explained that niello involved etching the design and then applying a black ointment made of copper, silver, and lead sulfides to create a striking contrast. Remarkably, each of the 12 spoons features a different cathedral etched onto the back using the same niello technique. Given its exceptional craftsmanship and historical significance, the appraiser estimated its retail price to be around
the $12,500 range.
Good grief.
This is the dress from the Little Orphan Annie play. Our guest on the show purchased the dress for a school play.
State, and they saw this piece and they purchased it for me for a collection of different Annie things and for all the different plays that I've been in and stuff.
Little Orphan Annie was one of the most successful plays produced on Broadway. It was invented in 1924 by illustrator and cartoonist Harold Lincoln Gray. The name of the play was coined from an 1885 poem written by James Whitcomb Riley. The Little Orphan Annie was very popular and there was a lot of commercial products based on the play. This dress seems to be a Halloween costume. This costume, related to one of the most popular comics of the early 20th century, while in good condition, would be valued at
$2,500 to $3,000.
Wow.
During the estate sale of Johnny Weissmuller's wife's items, this guest acquired a beautiful piece of jewelry. Of American origin, this jewelry was crafted during the Second World War period, a time when materials were scarce and alloys were used to create jewelry. This is evident in the piece, with its yellow gold baton link and green gold pyramid link. The design of the jewelry also reflects the era, resembling the tracks left by war tanks on the ground. Typical of the 1940s, this piece holds significant importance in understanding the effects of the Second World War on the jewelry industry and the adaptive measures taken to overcome material shortages. As such, its auction value is estimated at
for about $6,000 today.
Oh, really?
Really?
That's amazing.
a wedding gift from one renowned artist to another. This plaque holds historical and artistic value. Our guest's husband's great-grandfather was the sister-in-law of the recipient, Francis David Millet.
Given to my husband by his mother and by her mother, and her mother was the sister-in-law to Francis Davis Millet.
Francis was an American academic classical painter, sculptor, and writer. He was one of the founders of the School of the Museum of Fine Arts in Boston and was renowned for his mural paintings and designs, including the 1907 Silver War Medal and the 1908 Spanish Campaign Medal. Augustus St. Gaudens, a close friend of Francis, gifted him this plaque in 1879 when he married Elizabeth Greeley Merrill. The plaque is a phenomenal piece, identifying Millet as an artist in medieval style, crafted using the sand cast technique. This piece signifies the mutual respect and high regard between these two influential artists, which brings its auction value to
the $4,000 to $6,000 range.
Very good. Thank you.
The guest brought in a piece of furniture that showcased the artistic traditions of the Syrian and Moroccan regions around 1900. The piece was intricately inlaid with mother of pearl, a technique often used in furniture making from those areas. There are some additional details that could potentially increase the value, such as silver edges and ebony wood. Despite the beautiful craftsmanship and historical significance, the estimated value of this piece, due to its condition, is
$600 in this condition.
In this condition.
In better condition, it would be worth more.
However, at a recent auction, this piece was appraised for a value of $1,200. Displayed on the show is a character doll presented by our guest who inherited this item from her great-aunt. It's a German doll crafted in 1912 by the Bear and Proschild Doll Company, renowned for its exquisite bisque dolls, distinguished by a unique marking that ensures authenticity. This doll showcases stunning features and is estimated to be worth
between $750 and $850 in today's market.
Displayed on today's show is a delicate vase brought on by our esteemed guest. Adorning the body of this vase is a floral design accentuated by incised matte glazing. This captivating piece of pottery was crafted by the renowned Rookwood Company.
And they did a lot of floral wear, a lot of matte glazes.
Upon inspection of its base, the unmistakable Rookwood mark dating back to 1918 is visible. Also discernible is the signature CST, belonging to Charles Todd, the talented artist behind this creation. The red glaze and light green body of this vase complement each other beautifully. At auction, this intricately designed and impeccably preserved piece is valued at around
worth $1,000 to $1,500. Really? Yeah.
Step into the fascinating world of antique dolls with us. Meet the Martin Chase Company, where the guest mother worked as a doll maker.
She told my son John that the feet were put on the wrong side so that he would know which one was his.
These dolls are more than just a toy. These are pieces of history. Chase Factory originated in a barn on Park Place in Pawtucket in the 1880s. They manufactured dolls for hospitals, including life-size babies. Boy Doll is a later creation from the Chase Company, dating back to the 1960s. Little Nell stands out for her rare hairstyle and original clothing. Appraiser evaluates each doll separately.
Probably in the $75 to $150 range. Of course, these prices because of the story about the legs. Little Nell, okay, quite rare, very good condition, rare hairdo. I would probably place her in the range of $2,000 to $3,000.
Wow.
So you got a great, rare Chase doll made in the local area.
Like finding a hidden gem in a pottery shop, this guest brings this beautiful Wally Bird's humidor for appraisal. It was inherited from his father, who was a collector of antiques. This is one of the masterpieces made by the Martin Brothers Company. This company operated in London from around 1873 to 1915. They were famous for making vases, tiles, bowls, and pitchers. However, they were most famous for making sculptural birds. These birds were just fancy tobacco jars and humidors.
You would put a sponge, a moist sponge, into the top and then fill the inside with tobacco.
This company ushered in the modern era of decorative ceramics in England.
You can see the technique used here. This is really saw clay stoneware, and yet it was used in a very modern sculptural way.
This double bird form was designed later, dating to between 1900 and 1910.
Like these because I feel they have a conversation. Like right now, these two guys are having a very intimate talk, and then they can completely ignore each other.
Each of these hand-sculpted birds is well marked and signed R.W. Martin, Martin Brothers, and Southall around the neck. The base is also signed. This is a special humidor, and there are several factors contributing to it. One is that it's a multiple, and fewer multiples are available in today's market. The available ones tend to be single, larger birds. Also, the condition of this piece is pristine. It is almost in perfect shape. At auction, it is valued at about
$15,000 and $20,000.
Wow, you're kidding.
With the wooden base, I would probably add another $2,500 to the price.
Today, we encounter a circus barn poster. Originating around 1940, these posters were designed to adorn the sides of barns, catching the attention of passersby on trains with their circus advertisements. The saying, "size really matters," is aptly applied to these posters. With their substantial dimensions, these posters spark curiosity. These posters continue to captivate collectors with their nostalgic charm and historical significance. To a collector, an unmounted poster of this kind holds an estimated value of
$3,000 and $4,000.
The guest found two intriguing items at a garage sale for just $15 and brought them in for appraisal. They are children's headdresses, most likely made in mainland China during the 1920s or 1930s. These vibrant headdresses weren't just decorative, they held significant cultural meaning. The bright colors are a result of European influence in the late 19th century, readily embraced by the Chinese. More importantly, the tiger imagery served as a powerful symbol of warding off evil spirits. This practice of dressing young boys in girls' clothing further emphasized the intent to confuse evil spirits and protect the children. The additional details like flowers, feathers, and even depictions of centipedes, one of the 5 evils, served as further layers of protection. These headdresses are intricately craftsmaned, from the use of gold brocade to the small metal appliques. While not priceless antiques, the estimated value for each is
About $200, $250 a piece.
Oh, that's good.
This beautiful figural clock was a retirement gift to the guest uncle who worked at a firm that represented Tiffany. Dating back to the late 1800s, this clock was a beautiful example of the Victorian-era clocks.
In this Japanese aesthetic, and Japanism was very popular at this time, and this clock was actually made in France.
The clock had a dial with Japanese numbers. Both of the hands of the clock were the first and second half of a dragon, making a full dragon at 3 o'clock. What a craft indeed! There was another dragon decorated at the side of the clock.
Other companies to make the things that they sold, and they would often put their mark on those pieces. But this is unmarked. I don't have any reason to believe that they made it, but it's of that quality.
The detailing was exquisite, testament to the masterful craftsmanship of the era. Despite some missing rings, the piece was in admirable condition. Much to the guest's disappointment, the appraiser estimated the value of this beauty to be,
in today's world, in a retail store, this would easily be $15,000. At the peak of the market, a few years back, it was more like $20,000 in a high-end gallery.
Good.
How do you feel about that valuation?
I thought it was going to be higher, but it doesn't really matter. I mean, I still love it.
Rolex Submariner watch, a model 1680 from 1974, belonged to the guest father. The watch was purchased in its original box with tags and warranty. It also had paperwork written in French, reflecting Rolex's Swiss origins and international sales. The appraiser highlighted unique features like the feet first dial and the red Submariner text, both enhancing its desirability and value. Additionally, the tritium hour markers, originally white but now aged to a golden hue, added to its appeal. With all original components in excellent dial condition, the appraiser estimated its retail market value in 2018 at...
You add the box, the papers, the tags, the sticker, everything completely original, the dial being in fantastic condition, and you've got a watch today in 2018 that would very easily sell in the retail market for $28,000.
Much to the guest's delight, with a few repairs, which could cost between $900 and $1,400, the watch's value could potentially increase to around...
And then in total running condition, it would probably increase the watch to maybe $32,000.